Ready. Hi, I'm Jim Covington on behalf of the Illinois State Bar Association for this week's issue of ISBA Statehouse in Review. Talk about 3 or 4 state legislative issues that have resulted in new public acts and 1 federal issue. I'll start with the federal issue. Last week, a House Appropriations Committee in Washington issued a proposal to slash legal services funding by almost 27%. This would roll back funding for legal services, the 136 providers across the country, back to 1999 levels. The way these appropriation budget matters work in Washington and Springfield, from my casual observation over the years, is that it is difficult to change these things after they've been wrapped up into one big, huge bill. So I would strongly encourage you to pick up the phone today and call your member of Congress, either at his or her district office or their Washington office, and make the case why legal service funding is important. I will note that since 2008, there's been 17% more Americans eligible for legal services funding since 2008, and it shows the need for it. Concerning the state legislative issues, I want to talk about 3 or 4 bills. As an aside, Governor Quinn has received 609 bills from the legislature. He will have 60 days from receipt of those to take action. So for, I think, next week and the following weeks for the rest of the summer, you may see 50 to 60 bills or more enacted by Governor Quinn weekly, so we'll have a lot to talk about. The first state issue I want to talk about is the Illinois Radon Awareness Act. It does basically 2 things, and that's Public Act 97-21. All of these may be found at the General Assembly website at www.ilga.gov, and that's an excellent website. This bill will take effect, or this new act will take effect January 1. It changes the disclosure requirements for radon awareness and also expands it to some leased property. It does not apply for apartment buildings 3 stories and higher, or if the lessee is living in the same apartment complex or same home or apartment with the lessor. It does if a lessee does a radon test and finds that there is radon, and tells the lessor then has a duty to notify prospective lessees. If the lessor comes in and does a test and it does not show that, he or she does not have a duty to notify anyone. If they come in and mitigate the radon, they don't have a duty to do that. If the lessor comes in and does his or her own test and finds there is radon, then the lessor must notify both current lessees and prospective tenants. And that's Public Act 97-21. The next bill I want to talk about is a unit of local government reporting requirement. It's Public Act 97-84, which took effect on July 6 for county boards with population in excess of 300,000 and less than 2 million. If the county board executive makes the majority of the appointments that are confirmed by the county board to a unit of local government or an agency within the area of the county board, then any requirements for financing, action, any kind of reporting requirements, and the frequency of those, they want the unit of local government or that agency to give to the county board, then that unit of local government or agency must give those. And that's Public Act 97-84. The next bill I want to talk about arises out of Champaign-Urbana, and that is Public Act 97-34, which is effective January 1 of 2012. It adds uninsurance claimants to the jury rolls of the master jury list to try to expand the pool of prospective jurors. The final bill I want to talk to you about is also now in effect on June 28th of 2011, and that is Public Act 97-37. It changes if a defendant is found unfit to plead or stand trial. The current requirement is after the supervisor who is doing the treatment of the defendant files a report. Under current law, you must have a hearing on that unless there's good cause shown otherwise within 21 days. The legislature has reduced that to 14 days in which a hearing must be heard unless good cause is shown otherwise. That is this week's issue of ISBA Statehouse Week in Review, and we will see you next week.